fish basement annex today back into the Aquarium Main fish basement, where we're going to give a full tour of all the tanks, a complete update on what's going on with every tank in the fish basement. There's a lot of things happening, and you know the annex is kicking off a lot of things, so let's just get right into it. As you're probably guessing, this isn't the fish basement, but this is the last installment of getting pulled to the upstairs with all my tools to do work for the missus. So we all know that YouTube can be an awesome thing, like for watching aquarium and fish videos, but it can also be an evil thing because it's where wives can go to see home improvement videos and want to do feature walls in the newly renovated room. So above and beyond what was promised, but I don't know, women they're persuasive, let's just say that. So yes, I have built a couple feature walls, and somehow I ended up having to paint too. I wasn't supposed to paint, but again, women are persuasive. So, but the good news is, it is all done and done. I'm just cleaning up my tools behind me, bringing everything back down into the fish basement annex, and I'll be full bore back on the 4500 build. By the time you see this, I'm already full bore back on the 4500 build. But today we're going to be spending our time in the fish basement. We're going to be doing some needed maintenance to some of the tanks. We're going to show you how some of the tanks are blossoming, and we're going to talk about some of the tanks we haven't seen in a while and what's going to be happening with them in the near future. So lots of good things are happening in the 600-gallon Asian jungle. As you can see, we are getting really clear compared to how we were before, and we're able to see all the way back to that root wall 4 feet back, and that's because the FX6 is polishing away. And you might also notice, yeah, there's some more plants in here. I got another batch of plants that did awesome. So I haven't lost a one. They're all doing quite well. They've been in here about 10 days. And as you can also see, the red tiger lilies are sprouting leaves left and right, all three of them. So just as expected, they sort of shed what they came with, and then they're putting out some new ones. And we have these new lighter green varieties of plants in there. Mostly crypts, but a good mix. Some stuff in the back, in the foreground. Really trying to accentuate the depth of the 4-foot tank. So, you know, that's the thought process was spreading out the plants that are both tall and short. You know, not having tall and short plants in the front, and then of course taller plants in the back. And then obviously the polishing to get it clear to see all the fish all the way back at the root wall. Watching them come in and out of the root wall is pretty awesome. And of course watching all the schools of fish up at the top of the root wall is awesome as well. And real quick, I just want to thank the new Aquarium Main members and patrons, Jeremy, Ismail, Austin, Michael. Appreciate you guys, the support. And some of you aren't on the Aquarium Main Discord yet, and you should get on there. It is a small but tight-knit community of fellow fish hobbyists doing really cool things and sharing on the Discord, and of course helping each other and getting all of the first looks at what's going on in the aquarium basement. So if you're already a member or patron, don't forget to sign up on the Discord. It's free. So probably the best place to talk about an upcoming video on natural filtration is the indoor koi pond, because nobody puts out more waste than these giant koi. These are huge fish, very thick, very heavily bodied. They eat a lot and they poop a lot. So if you can filter a koi pond, or the water for koi, the environment for koi, you can filter for almost anything. But I'll talk about the pros and cons of the 4 different types of natural filtration I use, including saltwater, because we have some big, 4-foot bamboo sharks, and we have to filter. They eat a lot, right? A lot of input goes in, and you have to filter that. So at any rate, I do use, like I said, 4 different types of natural filtration, and I will talk about each type, the pros and cons of each type, my experiences with them, and why I choose each particular type, for each tank that I use it on. And like, for example, why I use one type on this tank and I wouldn't use the other type. Why it wouldn't work as well as what I am using on it. So that is the video I'm working on now, and hopefully have out pretty soon. So it is awesome that we have the 600 Asian jungle looking nice and clear and healthy, but now we need to do the same for the 750 Amazonian islands. It is looking murky. So what's going on over here? Well, I'm happy to say that we've cured the disease with the fish. You can see all the scarring is going away. They're all clearing up nicely. The one with the pop eye all cleared up. all that is taken care of. But what we need to do is we need to do a massive water change on this tank, and we need to do a massive trimming of the pothos. So the pothos is doing a few things. It's blocking out a lot of the light. It's basically just melting itself on the lights. It's blocking out a lot of the light coming down in the tank. And then the roots are just getting so big that they're blocking a lot of the internal water flow from the power heads. You can see on the left side you got some flow, but on the right side it's just completely blocked up by those pothos roots. So we're gonna basically take out about 80% of the pothos, which is fine because that's part of the purpose of it. Is it grew, it exported a lot of nutrients. We're gonna cull it and then it'll grow back and do rinse and repeat, do that again. But also, because we use the medication in here, you can see that we killed off bacteria. We just have sort of a murky look to the water, and it just needs to be cleaned up. Big water change. We're going to do some maintenance on the sump, on the filter, and then get this guy back to looking awesome like it used to. So as we touch on all the tanks in the Aquarium and Fish Basement, let's start with the Riverbend Aquarium, because this is one where it's just in cruise control mode. Our electric blue Jack Dempseys are all doing awesome, all looking amazing, and really this aquarium is for these guys. Now there are other fish with them to complement them, but this is all about the electric blue Jack Dempseys. And quite honestly, the tank is just maturing. It's only been running for 3 or 4 months, and the natural filtration system is kicking in and starting to take over and get this system to be completely balanced. So I am just literally sitting back and enjoying it. Just feeding the fish and enjoying them. So easy mode on the Riverbend Aquarium, which I like. So anyone who's watched an Aquarium Main video in the last, a couple months knows that the 3,000 gallon boys are just in a holding pattern. They are waiting for their 4,500 gallon to be built. So yeah, nothing going on in here really other than just keeping these monsters well fed and happy. Oh, that lenticulata pike out of Bappo, so beautiful. I can't even explain to you how much the flat-tailed Portrait Lotus has grown. He is enormous. And of course, I need to measure this Oscar because I swear he might be 16. He is truly a monster. He's a monster among monsters in here. But yeah, for now, just a holding pattern for the 3,000 gallon until they get their new Xingu River-inspired 4,500 gallon aquarium. Now, one of the tanks we are going to focus on a lot more in this video is the 220 gallon discus aquarium. The good thing, all the discus are doing awesome, getting fat and everything, but it's time for maintenance. It's time for the 6-month water change on the discus aquarium. Yes, you heard that right, 6 months. That's the beauty of what plants and natural filtration and deep substrate can do for you. They can really, really balance out an aquarium and make a very healthy environment that doesn't need constant nutrient export via water changes and doesn't need water changes to make the water healthy. But of course, they are beneficial. I don't really believe in a no water change, just limited 2 to 4 times a year per tank. That's the goal for my natural filtration aquarium. So in this video, we're going to do a big water change on this. We'll get the glass cleaned up. Again, I haven't scraped this glass in months and months and months. And yes, there's a little bit of algae on it, but it's not too bad. You can certainly see in very well. And that is another beauty of plants and other types of algae growing in there, like you see on the wood. And it's kind of funny. So the algae on the wood outcompetes other types of algae. And of course, all of this plant growth is outcompeting algae, as well as bacteria in the deep sand bed, or deep substrate bed, I should say. But one thing is, for a while I was sort of fighting this algae, but it doesn't grow any more than this. It's been just like this hair algae has been just like this for 6 months, and I like it now. It gives it a cool look, and it's not out of control. So before, it just wasn't balanced enough, and now it is in balance with the plants and everything else going on in the aquarium. So I'm happy, I like it. You gotta remember, the reason it wasn't in balance early on is because I put a few inches of substrate over top of an old substrate. So it took time for all that die off, all that bacteria growth, all of that stabilization to occur. But now that it's occurred, it's keeping the hair algae in check. It just grows on the wood, not on the substrate, not on the rocks. And it looks cool. So yeah, we'll give this a freshening up during this video, and we'll take a look at what it looks like after its 6-month water change. You know, I almost forgot all about the 150 gallon cube that blew the seam in the bottom and leaked. Yeah, this is what I got, at least 1, 2, 3, 4 nice 3-foot by 27-inch, half-inch thick panels of glass. The one on the bottom, I'm assuming, is probably all scratched up from rocks and coral, or base rock and everything. But yeah, there's at least 4 good panels here. What do you think? Future DIY project? What would we make with 4 3-foot panels 27 inches high? And another aquarium we're going to give its 6 months water change in this video, the 125-gallon Malawi River. So everything is doing great here. It is incredibly balanced. We've got peace lilies growing out the front of it. I mean, the plants this thing grows are insane. Believe it or not, I've actually culled the plants on top multiple times. But what we're going to do here is I'm going to cull more leaves from the top to let more light through, because I liked it early on when it was really bright in there. It looked awesome. And then I started liking the dark jungle look, but I'm ready to go back to the bright look. So, you know, I'm going to go ahead and trim some of those leaves off. And of course, we're going to give this guy the 6-month water change. And it's just, these guys are crazy. I mean, this is a surprise to no one, right? But just having 3 generations of African cichlids bred in here, all getting along well, these different species, loving it. Just loving this tank. And so here's a tank we haven't seen in a while. It's a fish we haven't seen, the 600-gallon reef slope. Like the 3,000-gallon, they're in a holding pattern, you know. Everyone is doing great. The tank is great. The fish are healthy. But I haven't really been advancing the scape or anything, because they're going to be moving into what's currently Predator Bay. So these guys are going to get their 1,800-gallon lagoon aquarium. So again, it's just keeping them happy and healthy in here, keeping them growing out, and yeah, just sort of waiting, unfortunately. It always, you always feel it's going to take less time than it does to get these things built and everything, but you know, life and work and everything, it takes forever. But there's a lot of growth in here. Queen Angel's grown a lot, French Angel's grown a lot. Some of the tangs have definitely grown. The sailfin tang is much, much bigger. So yeah, everyone's doing good in here, really. Crayon Angels in the back. No problems at all. One of the lights burned out, that kind of thing. But the funny thing is, when you have so many tanks and so many lights, it feels like something's always burning out from time to time. But then you think, well, I guess I got that light like 10 years ago. So maybe it's just its time, you know. But there's just so many of them. But, oh, look at that guy. Yeah, so at any rate, when the 3,000-gallon, when everyone there moves into the 4,500-gallon in the annex, so the 3,000-gallon becomes Predator Bay 3,000, and they all get moved over. And then these guys and the other guys at the 265, the other system that's attached to this system via the filtration, making this the 1,500 system, they all go into what is now Predator Bay. So, yep, just going to be a lot of saltwater stuff coming, because as soon as the 4,500-gallon is done, I moved to moving the 3,000-gallon in, you know, moving Predator Bay into 3,000, and then moving these guys. So, be a lot of salt content coming up once we get to that part. And I think these guys in an 1,800-gallon is going to be insane, as well as it's going to allow me to bring in some new fish too, because that's going to be a lot more room, tripling up the room. Can't wait to see the Angels full size. But I'm thinking a couple large tangs that I definitely want to get, so it'd be quite cool. And it looks horrible, but this is just the 265 side of that system. It's just in a holding pattern. It's got a temporary light on it and everything, so not pretty. But again, everybody's healthy and growing. It's just a matter of waiting till they get moved over. So you know the way it works. We get the 600-gallon Asian jungle looking beautiful, polished water, new plants, and of course, once this is looking beautiful, the 750-gallon Amazonian Islands looks like a murky mess. So we had to treat illness on the fish, and we haven't done any water change at all in this in forever, and we have plants that are growing out of control. So I'm not just going to be chopping leaves on this one. I am going to be pulling out a lot of the pothos. Don't worry, it'll grow back, because I want to have better water flow up at the top. So we need better water flow in here and better filtration. So the 750 is getting the full treatment. We're going to pump out the sump, the settling chamber. We're going to stir this up. We're going to do a big water change, and we're going to prune out a lot of plants. And I think you'll see once we're done, this guy will be looking sharp like he used to. Okay, I want to show all of the parts of the natural filtration. So we know we have our oxygenated moving bed filter in the first part of the sump where we're breaking down waste products from the fish. And then we have a vegetable filter where we're sucking nutrients out, and then the return with the biomedia that is in less oxygenated water for anaerobic bacteria. And then of course down here, this is what nutrient export in a natural filtration system looks like. All of the broken down waste products, all of the dissolved nutrients in the water that it took to grow all of this plant matter has now been removed from the aquarium. So 6 months ago, we had a little bit of pothos in the back like that, and then we grew that. So in the meantime, we did almost nothing. So that's part of the beauty of a natural filtration is every once in a while, 6 months to a year, depending on the type of system and the load and everything like that, you do a big, relatively big cleaning like this, but it's relatively simple. Just cutting off the plants, pulling them off, pulling out the roots, and stirring up all the mulm and pumping it out. Now, I know this looks horrible, but what you're looking at is mulm. This is essentially aquatic dirt. This is the byproduct of bacteria doing its job. It's broken down all of the organic material in the water, and it's created this inert dirt, this mulm. And, again, not attractive, but it's healthy. So it tells you have a healthy system. You wouldn't get this if it wasn't breaking down. So all we're doing is just pumping it out. So stirring it up with one pump, and then pumping it out with the other. And then of course we won't get all of it, but once we turn the system back on and the water flow's going, which is now a lot easier because without that huge glut of pothos root, we have so much more water flow from our top power heads, which are going to push all the way back and down and up, and it's going to suck it off in the overflows and down into the sump where we normally pump from. So the normal way we take care of mulm is we just put this sump pump here in that front chamber, and it settles in the bottom, and we just pump it out when we're doing any kind of a water change, replace it with clean water. The reason you see so much mulm in here is because it was all trapped in the roots of the pothos. So as I was pulling it out, it just released it all, and that's exactly what it's supposed to do. Those roots are like a filter, and they're like a mechanical filter, right? They were holding all of that up. So it's very healthy, and for someone like myself who runs a lot of big tanks, I can't be cleaning filter pads day in and day out. Natural filtration allows me to do big cleanings, again, once or twice in a year, and maintain a very healthy system with healthy fish. And again, it looks nasty, but that is mulm. You're just seeing dirty, muddy water. All the fish are perfectly healthy, the water parameters are perfectly good. And you'll see at the end of this video, we're going to take it all the way back. We're going to put everything back together, we're going to fill it back up with fresh water, we're going to give the filter a little bit of time to do its magic, and the 750 Amazonian Island is going to be beautiful once again, just like it used to be. Okay, it's looking about a nice 50% water change coming up on the 220 Flooded Forest Discus Aquarium. It's kind of cool seeing all the tetra out. They're all like, what's going on? Discus doing awesome. They were attacking the pump thinking it had food. Nothing really scares them. It's cool how comfortable they are. Even when you're working in the tank, they're not afraid of a thing, which is awesome. So just did a little bit of cleanup in there, got the glass and cleaned, and then yeah, time to fill this bad boy back up. Okay, a few strategic leaf cuttings up there, and we have a lot more light in the 125. That is looking beautiful. And as you can see, there was a nice big water change. Everybody's loving that, and of course that's going to be good for the plants. But with African cichlids, you know how they are. It takes about all of 2 minutes after you do a bunch of work on the tank, and they are all out and about and good as new. Not bothered by it. Very, very awesome fish. Very personal, very hardy, and they always roll with the punches. They don't ever get too bent out of shape about anything. So yeah, this is right after the water change, and they're right back out. But yeah, I think that's exactly what the Mallory River tank needed, was a little more light penetrating in there. And I think I probably always say this with this aquarium, I just got to get more regular on my dosing for the plants, because there's just so many immersed growing plants competing with these submerged plants. I need to make sure these guys have all the nutrients they need. I definitely feed it heavy, and it's amazing. It seems like there's no amount of food I can pour in here that the system can absorb. So nitrates are always super low, and in fact, I pretty much have to dose nitrates for this aquarium. So hey, it's a good problem to have. Don't have to do a lot of water changes. Pretty much doing this one, it's been a long time. But let's just say quarterly. Somewhere between 2 to 4 a year, and it's super low nitrates. In fact, like I said, I'm having to dose nitrates because of all the plants, and I never have to clean the glass. So it's pretty much a dream tank. I love it, and like I said, it's right next to my desk, so I see it all the time, and I thoroughly enjoy these guys. There's some fat autocyclists right there, and that's a couple of fat autocyclists if I've ever seen them. So we are right after the water change in the 220 gallon. You see the stir-by koi are out checking everything out. The discus are hunkered in the flooded forest there. They're like, okay, what's going on? And as you can see, all the tetra are schooling up, which is normal behavior when there's some sort of change in the tank. They don't know what's going on. So for safety, they all group up into their respective schools. But everyone is looking good, and the tank is definitely looking nice and refreshed. Always cool seeing these guys schooling around, and always cool to see the discus looking beautiful. So yeah, there we go. There's the 6 months. It's been a long time on the discus aquarium, but sometimes when everything is running great, well, I take that back. You know what? When we had the illness with the discus and we treated it, no, it did get water changes. So yeah, it's only been a few months actually. So, but once I'm in water change mode, I just like to go around the whole fish basement and do it all in one day. Since it's 2 to 4 times a year, might as well not slack and just do everything. But the 220 flooded forest discus aquarium looking awesome. Give these guys a little bit time to settle in, and then we'll get them some food. All right, some people have been asking what's going on at Predator Bay. Well, let's take a look. Everybody is out and about and doing great, as you can see. I think the main thing is hugeness. Everyone is getting big. So the coral cat shark, he's pretty much full size at 2 feet, and the bamboos there about 40 and 42, 42 and 44, somewhere in there. Horn shark, very slow grower. The groupers are slow growers. And let's see, where's the eel? The eel's out and about over there. The other funny story with Predator Bay is you might notice the scape is completely leveled. It's just funny watching the eel likes to swim with the group. He thinks he's one of the sharks. Guess he's been living with sharks too long. So anyhow, the aquascape totally knocked down, as you can see. Well, what happened? Well, the bamboo sharks. Even though it is a close to 2,000 gallon aquarium, and we'll swing around to the other side. And it's 13 and a half feet long. It's a serious tank, but when you get close to 4 foot sharks in there, and you see when they're swimming and cruising around, it can get small pretty quick. So what happened is these guys, they just like to dig and play around. They're just bulls in the china shop, and they knocked it all down. But the funny part of the story is this guy right here. He caved in a whole bunch of rocks on him. I mean, he was in there, the whole thing collapsed on him. I was actually there when it happened, and I was like, oh my God, I got to get in there and save this guy, And I'm thinking he's all going to be crushed and everything. So I'm, going around getting the step stool and getting the tongs and everything. Before I can even get there, he just shakes his way and just pushes everything off. He just sloughs the big rock off to the side, pushes another rock down, and he is just out and about, and he's good as new. So it just goes to show you how incredibly strong they are. So it shows you how incredibly strong the sharks are, and it also just sort of shows you that, is this tank too small for these guys? No, you see them swimming, they're cruising around, they're having a good old time there. They can swim pretty fast, It's not too small, but for me, I'd have to redo the aquascape in a much different way for these guys to accommodate just how big and strong they are. So, but rather than do that in the current Predator Bay, we know they're moving to the 3,000 gallon Predator Bay over there, so I'm just waiting on that. So it's just like a lot of the tanks that are in a holding pattern. They are healthy, all the fish are healthy, the tanks are healthy, but the aquascapes are kind of, you know, subpar. Sort of, you know, this one's all knocked down. In the reef slope, I haven't been dosing all the calcium and everything like that for the coralline algae because I'm getting ready to move everything. So there's some things like that, but all in all, everyone is doing great, and it's going to be that much cooler when I implement the scape for these guys in the Predator A3000, because like everything, like with this big cichlids, it'll implement all the lessons learned, and it'll be a scape that's capable of handling 4-foot sharks doing the shenanigans that 4-foot sharks do. So yeah, it'll be good times. All right, let's see what 2 hours of the filter running on the 750 has done. Hey, not bad, not bad. Turned that big milky mess of mulm, or you know, water mixed with mulm, and yeah, it's got rid of quite a bit of it. Also, we've got quite a more lake now, so, and you know, now we got a year worth of pothos to grow back out again and take out all those nutrients. So yeah, very cool. I'm happy with the progress of the filter so far, but obviously we'll give it more time. I just want to check in on it, and we'll check back when this is all clear. So I just fed the discus and completely forgot to film it, but an hour later, after their big water change and maintenance on the aquarium, they're all back out. They're no longer hiding in the flooded forest, and they're back out front, and they were merchant for food, but they just got some, so they should be satiated at least for a few moments. But they're doing great, and the tank is looking awesome. Kind of like my African Malawi River aquarium, just this tank just in cruise control, and just simply enjoy it. Well, so we answered the question that 4 hours is not enough time for my sump to completely clear out all that mulm, but as you can see, it's all gone off the substrate, it's all up in the water column and getting moved into the sump. So not going to see it perfectly clear in this video, but I will be sure in the next, hopefully, what is a 4,500 gallon build video, to do an update on this, and we'll see the water crystal clear and everybody back out again. But they are looking good for 4 hours after the big cleaning. Everything is looking like it's on pace to get back to being beautiful. I gotta tell you, I'm getting tired just thinking about all these big moves coming up in the Aquarium Main Fish Basement. So we're gonna be back at the 4,500 gallon full time, getting that build completed. We're gonna have to be moving from everything from the 3,000 to the 4,500, and then from the 2,000 to 3,000, which is gonna be Predator Bay 3000. That's got a ring to it. With a tank that big, I think our 4-foot sharks are gonna be well at home in there, as well as that's a lot of room for activities. Maybe we can go bigger than a 4-foot shark in there. I don't know. We're gonna have to see. We have to get some more marine animals to fill out that space. That's gonna be awesome. And also this week I'll be at the Keystone Clash. So if anyone's gonna be there, hopefully I get to meet you. And yeah, I'm gonna be back at the 4,500 gallon build full time. Can't wait to get that bad boy done. So as always, I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you soon.